Yeah, it's 6 o'clock. You guys ready? Okay, I will call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you guys have a chance to look at the minutes from last week?
Yep. I did, and they're great. That's all through the automated system, Sharon? Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, it's very nice. There was a typo in the one I looked at online, but it looks like it printed out all right. The page numbers on the bottom. It was only showing 2 pages. I was going to comment on that, but it's right on the printed version.
And you said this saves you 4 to 6 hours a week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Minimum.
So it is,
Life saving.
we have usually 40 meetings. So it does cover all of our meetings, and there's a little bit of time left over. So if we had any special meetings, or we had like the special town meetings or the annuals or anything, any of those minutes, we
Just to track it in, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's complete, it's accurate, you know, I
Right.
think they're very good.
But I mean, for the cost, it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Well
very
worth it.
well. Hey, would anyone like to make a motion in minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as written for the August 3rd, 2026 meeting.
Or second, sorry, second.
Motion and a second, no corrections?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Vote aye. All right, next up, we have the Friends for the Community updates on the fireworks events. We had a lot of good feedback. We had a lot of people that you contacted that said they'd never been contacted before. I know you took the 6-passenger cart that was donated by the Spencer Agricultural Association all the way up Podunk Road and visited some places along Route 9. And, you know, they said that nobody'd ever asked them before. And I know you stopped at a couple of the cookouts that Lisa's family put on, and they dumped a bunch of money in the bucket. So, you know, it's getting out there and getting people, you know, certain people, they're not going to donate. There's nothing you're going to do. But, you know, if you know where the big cookouts are, the next thing you need to do is figure out who's got a nice boat and go touring around the cookouts.
We actually have someone, a connection out there, and we're trying to figure it out for next year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cookouts in your neighborhood. There's a lot of cookouts.
We had one.
Yeah. So, I
30
mean,
people at my house.
if you have somebody just, you know, if
drive right
you have like a
Good
float
luck finding
made
my
up,
house though.
you have like a float made up, and you go through and you're blowing an air horn or whatever and say, hey, you know, we're here, can we get a donation? I mean, there's a lot of people that have a lot of cookouts. I mean, if you're spending $1,000 on lobsters and you know, beer kegs, you know, throwing a couple of bucks in the kitty wouldn't hurt. So, yeah. So, all right. How did you guys make out?
Well, very well. Do you want like the?
Well, we're wondering whether or not you're going to be able to cover the expenses already before you do any of the donation seeking. You know, are you liquid for next year to pay for the fireworks at least?
As of right now, we can pay for the fireworks.
Okay.
And
We're still short.
oh, we're short.
Yeah.
Well, right, but I mean, you've got 11
A
months.
little bit
Yeah.
towards it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when do you pay? January usually or something? Is it around the holidays that you make the deposit, or is it now you make the deposit?
Around January, I think, and then the final payment's day off.
Okay, so once again, all contracts signed by anybody in town, any departments have to be signed by the Board of Selectmen. So just
Yeah, we know.
make sure we see the contract. And then I had inquired with the carnival people and you know, was it worth having Friday night? Did you make an adequate amount of money, and was the carnival people happy enough to set up?
So for us, it was great. We ended up making over 4,000. We didn't pay them anything to come in.
Right.
I know the first night they did not do well. It was very slow. I think that's more of us trying to push the first night as far as advertising. But
So it was a lot bigger carnival than you've had in the past,
yeah, I've
and I don't know if the word get out for that.
Yeah.
But should have asked. I knew. I know the guy. He stores his equipment at the fairground, so I know him, and you know I've dealt with him before. So it's just you have to make sure it's worth his while to come in for the extra day and all that. So
Yeah, I did speak with Harold, the main guy.
Yep.
The guy who was here running it. He said he didn't say no about next year. So that's.
Well, it was his first time here, so I mean, he's still got to get the word out. Once everybody found out what was here and what activities were here, and it was way bigger than anything else, you know, so I'm sure just word of mouth, but,
Yeah.
you know, the more advertising you guys can do, the better.
Yes.
Is next year the Lashaway celebration, Andy, or is it the year after?
After 2020.
More?
28.
28, okay, I couldn't remember. Did you have any issues with public safety or injuries or rowdy people or anything? Just curious.
Yeah, just the guy fell off the wall over by the bathroom.
I just tripped over it, but there was no other.
Talking to the police chief and the fire chief later, they said it was one of the better years they've had as far as police activity and number of contacts, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah, it's funny because it's busier this year than last. And last year we had a lot more issues.
how many people did you have?
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, that's,
No, out of curiosity, it'd be
no,
good to know
it's
for
another
people to
issue that I'm
understand.
having with the town of Spencer. You have no idea how many people were here, there's nowhere to count. So,
Well, the Chief Lazarick, I think, and they guesstimated about 4,000. We
Yeah.
did try to use.
on
figures.
the field,
Yeah.
right, we have no idea how many people were standing on Route 9, how many people were at the cut barbecues, how many people are out on Route 9.
Over there, we had a little over 1,400 people.
Yeah.
at the main gate.
Just coming in for
That was before I came.
after 5 o'clock.
Came back.
And I know there were a lot of boats out and the fireworks were outstanding from the lake as well. And the lake was more boats than I've seen in years, so it was really nice. Well, thank you. Well done.
I know we had the jet ski out there, Lieutenant Cowden
Yep.
was in his official police wetsuit, and he was out most of the day with that, and then I believe at 6 o'clock, the environmental police showed up with their boat.
Took over.
So,
Yep.
Yeah, so that was pretty successful, so.
I've seen him out a couple of times after that as well on the jet ski too.
Okay, so we'll continue on with your your donation seeking and
Worded.
see how you can make out and, you know, however you turn out. It's just, you know, you got to pay attention to the budgeting session next year. You know, like the police chief and the fire chief said, you know, if you want them to save 10 grand, they know where they can cut and still maintain police activity. So I know from my experience from another role that I have, it's very expensive for public safety. I have to provide my own ambulance, my own, you know, the police details, the fire details. I have my own security service, you know, paying for porta potties and dumpsters and, you know, everything gets real expensive real quick. So, yeah, we'll support you as much as we can. But I mean, if it gets down to, you know, gets down to it, it's just so long as you know going in what your expenses are if you had to take over everything completely, so that you know where you would have to have funds and what you would have to figure out where the money comes from. So, you know, dumpsters and porta potties and the police details, fire details, everything else. If you had to add it all up and you had to cover everything yourself, it would be X. So at least you know where you're at. Yeah.
And if it looked like you weren't, from my opinion, sorry, Amber, if it looked like you weren't, like Andy said, pay attention to the budget season because we'll be starting early and it'll be very tight for next year. So if we were going to consider doing something, the sooner we knew about having to do that, the better. So just pay attention to that on YouTube and on the signboard and anywhere else you hear about it, just so if we need to know, we can help out if we can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Outstanding job. You guys did good. This is where it's your second year doing it? Third or second? This was your third, or you're going into your third? This was the third, okay. I know you got thrown into it the first year and yeah. Baptism by fire, but yeah, you it was a great show. They expanded a little bit and looked good. All right.
Yeah, thank you again.
Thank you again.
Do you have anything?
Nope.
Oh, no, not at all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just real quick, while I'm thinking about it, the part-time laborer we hired 4 weeks ago.
Yep.
Left this morning, so. So.
I did not know that.
The highway superintendent contacted me to see if he had to repost and go through the whole thing, and I said, no, it's, you know, you have all of your applicants and you have your scale of, you know, who was qualified for the job, so you're just gonna call the second on
See
the
if they're
list, the
interested.
third on the list, see if anybody's available. The laborer that we hired will be starting next Monday. That's the full-time position.
Just while you're on that note, Andy, I spoke with Mike earlier today too. He and I were trading phone messages. And we're working on the paving costs that we talked about a couple of weeks ago with Mass Broken Stone.
Right.
There's a difference between what Mike's looking at and what our contract is set up for and what the other contractor's price. So Mike and I
Are
are
you
trying to
talking
get into
about Route 9, or you're talking about West Street?
West Street.
Okay.
And we're looking at trying to get apples to apples.
Right.
So that we can make a decision on what to do.
What Mass Broken Stone was looking at for width and depth of material and all of that was different than contractor.
Gotcha.
We're under the understanding that the contractor is going to put in 16 feet of gravel and 14 feet of paving, but looking at the specs, it wasn't quite that much. So we got to make sure that when I ask the question, you know, can we do it on our own cheaper, or is it going to be more expensive? You know, how much are we saving? They just want to make sure that they're.
It's apples to apples, yeah. And one of the things we're looking at is the project from the contractor had removal of a lot of material that might not be necessary.
Right.
And we're looking at, can we reduce the overall cost and then compare apples to apples?
Okay.
So Mike and I are working on
They
that.
were going to dig out the road 2 feet and bring in 2 feet of processed gravel. Well, if 3/4 of the road is pretty good and only a quarter of it is a little muddy or sticky or, you know.
And that's what it comes down to, Andy. There may be some localized spots where it's silty or soft.
Yeah.
And to pave over it without getting rid of that would just make the pavement soft and it break apart
But
over time.
Taking 2 feet of material out of the whole thing, you know, a real waste.
I agree.
Okay.
It could be a real waste unless, yeah,
Well-
I agree. So Mike will work on that. And then he also was talking a little bit about the position for replacing a future
Yeah.
employee.
Yeah.
And he'd like to have another conversation with us about it. So I said, well, maybe late August or September to reach out to Sharon to try to get on our
Right,
agenda.
but we still have an employee and he's still here
Understood.
and he's still on the payroll.
It doesn't mean that Mike has to wait to the very end to come up
Right.
with a solution. Andy, there's potentially some questions on how to post it. So in my opinion, we'd be better to be proactive and ahead of it to help out with winter plowing, things like that. I mean, not to rush, Andy, right? We make a good decision then.
All right, what is this youth access advocates?
That was, yeah.
That was for the docs. Okay.
And it's not youth access either, it's your. And I'm sorry, I noticed that in the agenda last week. It's your access advocates, I believe.
It is. Yeah, she has it. Yeah, the email. Yep, your.
Yeah, and maybe it was in the minutes and I missed it, but it's definitely your, because I saw that last week. And those are the folks that we contracted with, Andy, and all they're doing was updating it,
Yeah.
sounds like, for those extra.
Because we you know, we had pointed out that, you know, the North Brookfield.
Yep.
Town of North Brookfield lot that we own, that is our beach, needs to be looked at for accessibility. And then I pointed out, or they asked about the docks.
Yeah, no, I was on the call. I mentioned it too. yeah.
Did we ever name that? Is that the East Brookfield Lashaway access? Is it a pavilion? Is it
We
the
never
Route 9
did it.
pavilion?
We never named it nor dedicated it
Right.
to
But
anyone.
we still should call it something for identification purposes.
Yeah,
Do
we-
we have a street address?
You know, we've called it the Overlook before. Let me look at the grant application because we called it something when we applied for the grant. I can look at that.
Tongue in cheek called it the Gordon
I know you do.
Memorial Arena, but that was just because Larry Gordon did a lot of the,
Larry and I both did actually.
well, as a member of the Board of Selectmen, he did a lot of the legwork on that dam called reclamation.
Called the.
All right,
I love Larry,
so
so, no,
the revising that, do we have a revision on that or no?
we got a whole grant for that and everything, so.
Yeah. So this is,
Can't get out.
it's an increase of $1,000. So would someone like to make a motion for the revised contract?
Wait till he's back. Do you want to make the motion? I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that we allow the chairman to sign the revised contract with your access advocate for the ADA self-evaluation and transition plan.
This is for a sum of 27,400, which is an increase of 1,000 from the
And this
original
will
contract.
cover the town docks and also
Town beach.
the town beach.
No, the beach was already part of it.
Yep,
This
this
is
is
just
just for the
for
town
the
docks, ramp,
docks
and the
and
pavilion.
pavilion and, yeah.
Yep.
Great, I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all those
Just
in
a
favor?
question, all that extra 1,000 comes out of the grant, right? So we
Absolutely,
should-
yeah.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Vote aye. Next, we have Mass Broken Stone. This is for Route 9. And we cannot sign this contract because we have no funding.
And not necessarily in a rush, right? It's just a quote for us, right?
Well, this is a quote, and the DOT is after us to do that before plowing season. So when we take up the special town meeting in the fall, we'll probably have to fund that. All right. And did you want to sign that? I chose not to. You can if you want.
Okay. I was curious what was happening with this.
Did you get the email from Jake?
I did. I was gonna ask about that. I think we need to have a conversation with the water superintendent about how this gets addressed.
Mhm.
I think the position funding was cut, and we just need to figure out how to have him in and I think address it with him and not make a decision without his input, I guess.
The dilemma that we're in right now is the work was accomplished and has to be paid for. That is
Yep.
master in the law. The question is the amount, how that amount was come up,
I don't disagree.
and how the decision was made. I thought, my feeling from the meeting was that the new clerk was going to do the first quarter billing for fiscal year 27. I thought that the other billing clerk was not going to do it. So
So I would say I had a pretty similar opinion, Andy. I wasn't quite convinced that the new clerk would totally be able to do it on his own. But I also agree with you that the previous position was not carried forward in the fiscal 27 budget. It was eliminated. So how we address that and pay for it is an open question, right? And then when it's performed after that position is eliminated and the person is told the position was eliminated and terminated, how do we deal with that?
okay.
So I don't know how we deal with it, Andy. Do we address it with, do we ask internal counsel on how to address it? I mean, what do we do? We can't ignore it. We need to do something.
What would the board's pleasure be? What would you like to do? Would you like to ask Copeland and Page for an opinion? Should we just have the water superintendent in next week?
We're not here next week. It'd be the week after, but that's fine.
It'd be the week after, okay, but we'd probably have to go into executive session because we'd be talking about a sensitive
Yep.
matter with
Yep.
personnel, so.
Yep.
Or you can just sign it and.
I honestly was going to ask about it because I was kind of wondering how it, I think it was mentioned last week and I was wondering what happened with it. So
Right.
having it
I'm
pointed
not
out.
comfortable signing the warrant as it was presented because of the detail of wages versus salary. I know in accounting, there's differences in it, but, we passed the budget at town meeting, so.
And I think we need to potentially just address the whole issue, right?
Right.
And maybe get some input on how to address it.
In
to
the
do it
meantime, for
properly.
last week's payroll,
Yep.
we want to have Donna remove that one line item and sign the warrant, or, because the warrant wasn't signed last week.
So did nobody got paid
That's the
then?
payroll warrant right there.
All
That's a
right.
question for Donna. If they paid and not the warrant being signed, or what they did.
I think in the past, like if people have been out on vacations or,
Right.
Quorum hasn't
They-
existed or
they do
something, the payroll goes
Right,
through.
so did the payroll go through already? Okay.
So it went through
So
as
you wanna-
presented
Do
already.
you want to ask, is Donna here or is she on vacation?
She's welcome.
Okay, so we probably want to see if that was done or not.
But in any case, we would then want to address the underlying issue,
Yeah.
right?
Let me get Donna.
Yeah.
If
just
you would.
ask if she.
I usually do, but now I can't get out anymore, so.
Don't worry. You want to take the long way around?
Trying to, not be on the camera crossing back and forth all the time.
Decision to do an executive session on this?
I kind of think we have to.
All right, in the signatory here is for Comstar Collections. You were listening to that last week? We were talking about Comstar?
The ambulance.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I was here for the whole meeting. I just,
So do we want to sign off on absolutely everything, or do we only want to sign off for things that happen? Because this goes through 12/21/25. I know there are some that we just want to, there's one here from 16, there's another one 17, another one for 18. Obviously the collections on them, not going to get anything.
so what's the look back for taxes in town? Like if you don't
Look
take
back for
action-
taxes is forever.
What's the other one that's limited, Andy? Isn't there one where if you don't take action after some period of
Putting
time?
it into tax title is one thing.
She's here, so we'll grab her.
The taxes never go away, whether or not you put it in tax title, whether or not you progress on actually taking possession of the property, that's one issue.
Yep.
But the tax itself never goes away, ever.
But isn't there after a certain period of time, you can't pursue it anymore in terms of putting it on the lien or anything?
Not on property.
Not on
tax.
property? What is the thing in town that you can't, that's limited like that? I thought there was something where we couldn't keep looking back after 3 years or something like that. I just forget what it was.
Well, if you have an issue with your assessment on your property, you can only go back 3 years. So in other words, if you have two lots and they're both being, one has a house on it and one doesn't.
Yep.
One is buildable and one isn't, and they're both being taxed at the same rate. If at some point in time you look at it and say, hey, why are they both the same rate? One's buildable, one isn't. You have up to 3 years to address that.
Well, the rate would be the same because we have one tax rate, but the assessed value would
The
be.
rate as in what they're charging you. So if they say both lots are worth $100,000.
Yep.
One of them is buildable, one of them isn't, and the other one that's not buildable should only be billed at, pick a number, 40,000.
Right.
So you can contest it, but they only have to go back 3 years.
So that's what I was thinking of, Andy, and it's not the rate because everybody pays the same tax. Because people say that all the time. People on the lake pay more. They don't. They have houses that are appraised higher
They're
than
appraised higher because of the water. yeah.
because of where they are. So in that case, there's at least a precedent for how far back do we look and write stuff off prior
Correct,
to
but
that? That's what I was
this
thinking.
is on the medical bill.
No, I understand that, but I was trying to find out.
To get the funding because we have no, you can't take their property because it's not property tax. You can take their, you can prevent them from getting their license if they're excise tax, but you can't do anything about a medical bill.
No, but what I was saying is at some point, like for ones that are 10 years old,
Yeah.
right? Should we have a 3-year look back and anything older than 3 years, just not even bother chasing?
Well,
it
this
anymore?
is a signature on this. Are we saying we're writing everything off through 25 or we're just saying, acknowledging that we have the debt?
I would having an open conversation about where we're at and how we address it, Andy. That's all. I was just, hey, Tanner. Just not knowing what the right answer is without talking through, like, what are the implications of that if we
Which I
did?
thought is what we talked about last week, right? We were trying to find out what the implications would be if we just signed off.
Right. So that would be another question for Donna while you're here. We'll just skip that. On Comstar, we have quite a bit of outstanding medical billing. What are the ramifications of writing it all off as saying it's not collectible versus keeping it on the books? Is there an advantage to keeping it on the books because it's an asset? Or is it a disadvantage because we have uncollected funds?
It's not an asset, it's a receivable. I mean, it's not an asset that you would consider an asset, so.
Like a fixed asset. It's an accounts receivable.
Yeah, but we know we're never gonna collect it, so
Right,
yeah.
it is actually hurting us to have, it's giving us the appearance that we're gonna collect something that we know we're not. So in the financial statements, they have a blurb that says, uncollectible in it, so.
So what did
They're, many years ago, the auditors came in and recommended too. So it's a common recommendation that they want us to do. I think it would be wise to do it yearly, but we're a small community and everyone's part-time and.
Well, what the chief was talking about was when we go to receivers, when they send it to the collection agency, they send 3 letters and then that's it. But a lot of times they're working back through the insurance companies, what Medicare is going to pay versus what the carrier pays and back and forth and back and forth. Sometimes-
Every year you have another
Right,
year.
but sometimes it takes up to 2 to 3 years to settle a bill
Of
out.
course, he's
So-
not asking for you to go anything earlier than that.
Well, this right here goes through 12 of 25. I don't know if we want to wipe out bills that new.
No, I think what he asked us was talking about anything, I think he said 23 and before, I might be wrong, but he did put a, I
Right,
thought
but
he said,
this signatory
So
page
this
here
one would
goes
walk up to
back
2025?
12/25.
so that would have to be
yeah,
fixed then.
Okay, so that's one issue. The other issue is the payroll warrant for last week. Was that paid?
Andy, as a town accountant, my role is to prepare it as town accountant for you guys to authorize it. After that, that's the treasurer.
Okay, we'll ask you, yeah.
The treasurer is the one,
Do you know if it was paid last week?
it was paid, so yes, and nothing should be paid without signatures, but when you guys don't meet.
Totally understood, and that, it was not
Actually,
asked that way in a
last week,
criticism,
yes.
yeah. We're trying to figure out how to take action on maybe one of the items on it, and we were just curious what the status was, because we had a question, that's all.
Yeah, you have to follow.
That's the wrong
treasurer
person.
on that. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Donna.
All right, so this is asking me for a signature. I don't know if it's an acknowledgement of debt or that we're going to agree to.
The treasurer after the fire chief and communicate with her about that Comstar.
Maybe we need to
She
clarify.
got communication from Comstar as well, that she should be doing something as well. So she needs your okay to be able to do collections with Comstar. I understand.
So we already have a contract with Comstar, and there's a collection agency that works with Comstar. Once it goes past the normal period, we have a collection agency, but it's not a call you 3 times a day, knock on your door at work, et cetera, et cetera. We're just sending through writs and letters, and then if it's not paid, it's not
And
paid.
some people pay because they can and others, right?
But what
Right,
you're
but I
saying
mean,
is
there's-
that Comstar communicated with her that she also needs to be doing a separate action
She
too,
brought that back, but I need the board.
Can I just see that for a second?
in order to do her action that they're recommending. Maybe
So,
we need to clarify
What
with her.
I'm asking is the signature on this is an acknowledgement of debt, or are we saying we're going to be saying that these are uncollectible? That's my question.
My understanding is just that she is a treasurer of the town and be working with Comstar on the collectibles.
I don't think that's what this document is, Sharon.
Okay.
From what I can see, it's a cumulative request for deposition report, and it summarizes a bunch of,
Disposition or disposal?
I'm sorry, disposition, not deposition, sorry.
Yeah, so the
Mental-
disposition is, we're not gonna collect it, let's get rid of it. I don't think that's what we want to do at this time for debts that are only from 24 and 25. We want to hang on to them for a little while, just in case there's something collected.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah. see that on the top.
between my shoulder surgery and my wife's back surgery, there's, an exorbitant amount of bills, and they were going back and forth between the insurance company and the hospital, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And that stuff takes a long time to get settled out.
Yeah, and, here it is,
Don't
here, we
worry
have a
about it.
copy of it here too from last week, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I only saw this
What we
report,
are
I didn't see
Thinking
this.
about is writing off ones that are older, like the 16.
Right, there's some in there, back to 2006.
But it goes right up to the bottom here,
Yeah,
Amber, and then it's, yeah.
So it needs to be
Yeah.
somehow they need to
But
redo it.
there's some we're gonna agree that it's uncollectible, but there's some that we still should keep on the books.
So let's just talk through that so we can make a decision and maybe get it in the direction of a policy. So this Comcast thing is annual, Comstar, I'm sorry, is annual, correct? So it's based on a calendar year,
That's what,
right? So do we want to wait 2.5 fiscal years? Or do we want to wait 3.5 fiscal years or 3 fiscal years? How does that work with it being on 2 different schedules? Right, Andy?
Well, we have to ask, is it fiscal, is it calendar?
Well, this report and these are all calendar year dates. So if we were to say we only went back 3 years, is it 3 years from July 1?
Yeah.
Or is it 3 years from January 1? Well, let's tell them, Andy, so we can get an answer and take action on it instead of just sending it off into abyss. I mean, what do we want to do?
I think it should be reviewed every 2 years, because I think 3 years puts you in that window of now you have too many stacking up,
Okay,
where maybe if that 2 year, you're at least on top of it, and you're not getting that huge bulk of ones that you know are not going to be ever collected.
and then if we did it as of July 1st, then it would be like a number for fiscal, whatever that year is, right?
Just be-
Okay.
They've got to sign page 1.
I just like if there is
It's the same thing as last week.
Well, that's my point. And like, I would just clarify with Nicole too, that if she does need something signed in order to do whatever Comcast needs her to do, that maybe that's presented that way, not just, because that doesn't seem like,
No, but if you see the boxes, like the things that it's to TFFR collect
okay.
and write off
Maybe she could just send a quick summary to us to say what they want her to do
from them.
or something. Yeah. Just so we all understand what they're asking her to do, maybe, so that we're all on the same page.
Well, one says transfer to collection agency, right? But I would hope a bill from 2018 had been transferred to the collection agency in
You would-
2021,
Oh,
right? right?
But that's the question, was it done?
Yeah.
Because I asked that question last week. I don't know if you heard me ask that when I saw those checklists, like
Yep.
I had asked the chief, who's responsible to go through that and click that box so the treasurer knows? And him and Josh were, and that
They didn't keep, it was tough to keep up with it or
they
something
weren't
along
doing
those
it
lines.
monthly like they should, maybe they should. And so, because I was trying to clarify, like, who gives that message to send that one off to collections versus 5 years pass and no one's just been sitting there.
See, this is 14 pages and there's a signature page on the end only. Like the very first one is from January 1st, 2016.
Yep.
Right.
And if we say right off approved and check that, there's no place for signatures, there's no place for an initial.
Or,
And the next one, right off, or collections agency, there's no place for a signature or a,
totally agree. And if someone administratively on our side, whoever it is, right, should have been doing this all along, like, do we need to completely write it off for these? But then when you get to 24 and 25, do you need to check that box that says, all right, now go get the money for us?
Yeah. Versus
Send those 2 or 3
sign this
letters.
whole thing and say.
And everything disappears and we never chased money from 6 months ago.
so according to this right here in 16, we have,
The policy that the chief gave to us last week, it was originally in November, I think November 1st, 2023, he presented it to the board of he doesn't know if it was ever initiated and no one's following it. Because I think on that policy he had, which stated that they were supposed to look at these monthly to make those decisions or every 3 months.
so on January 1st, 16, we have $160,000 outstanding. On January 1st, 17, we have 17,000 outstanding. On January 1st, 18, we have $32,000 outstanding. January 1st, 19, we have $34,000 outstanding. January 1st, 20, we have 28,000 outstanding. And then it goes every 6 months after that.
Yep. Is that the frequency, the cadence on it, any?
Well, we have the January 1st through 2020, and then from there it goes every 6 months. It's one
Sharon, you might not have it.
six.
He handed it to us when he came in. Of course, I usually have my stuff and I filed it today, but I know on the policy that he presented, it did have like a timeline of when they should be reviewing these and making those decisions versus, like you said, Bob, having 14 pages of no decisions being made that we're aware of.
And if we need to make the decision, that's fine. I'm not,
Wait, is that- no,
like,
that was-
let's do it and go, you know?
I thought it was the one with the logo on it, but it's not, but that's okay. I
It's
know he gave us
Republic.
one, and he had questioned whether or not at that board meeting, if it had been put forward or not.
Did it say that in the minutes from last week? Because I would have picked it up there maybe too. Because I know, page 3. Public safety fiscal. So it talks about it, but it doesn't have the details of him giving
Yeah,
us.
so what I'm saying is like you were talking about the policy, so it was well written when I read it. Perhaps maybe we bring that back in to see if that's something that we need to make sure is actually, was it
Yeah,
initiated?
so the fire chief was gonna reach out to the accountant and the treasurer, so.
Yeah, and he had handed us all a printed policy that they had formed back in, I think it was 23. I know the letter said November 1st, 2023. But he just wasn't sure if the board at that time wanted him to initiate. There we go, that's it right there. Yep.
You can take these signature pages here if you want.
So kind of lays out, you look at it, this was specifically about this, like how often they should meet. From this amount, 3 years and older, what?
I just, 3 seem reasonable, so it's like
Yeah,
that.
2.5,
okay.
3.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you want to look at this and if this is something if it was not initiated, this to make sure that everyone is
Yeah.
not letting things sit from 2016 on.
That they know, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, do you want, we can make some copies of this, Andy, we can all take one.
Let me see if I remember looking at that last.
It's not in this package, that's what I was,
It's
the sort
2019,
of,
sorry.
yeah.
I knew it was November 1st, I had the first right, but. Because I think that was the question I presented, like, who does it? Do you guys check it off or does the treasurer check it off? Do you check it off and then send it to her and?
And it looks like in the package, there was a whole list of all the various incidents that made up that year too. Okay. You'd want to make do we want to take action on this? Review it a little bit? What do you
Or do we
want?
want to go back to minutes to see if it was done at a board of select meeting? Because he thought it was, but he wasn't sure.
And then what, distribute it to him and the
Just-
treasurer and the accountant and say, let's try to get on this maybe.
Yeah, and he had admitted that, you know, if the policy is what they want him following, then, you know, they'll get back on doing that.
Yeah, because I think there were some health and other challenges going on.
There's always,
Yeah.
like you said, I think if you can try to keep up with it at a better pace, maybe it's easier to track.
Because even with accounts, like, I think if we have accounts that we just keep open year after year after year and the work's definitely done, it actually makes more work for the accountant and the treasurer and everybody to reconcile it. So
Yep.
a bunch of folks I work with will go through and, all right, we're done with that. Let's zero it out and move on.
Just saying, the auditors in the past have recommended cleaning this up, so
Perfect,
it's
yeah.
not lingering. So what do you think it's best just to see if it was ever mentioned at a past meeting?
Yeah, and then if it hasn't, and then just redistribute it if it has.
Because I agree, I think it's here, we have the information, try to wrap it up before.
And kind of make less work for people if they need to do it. Do something else instead.
All right, so next up on our agenda would be
Thank you, Sharon.
at some point, the board accidentally appointed a sixth person to the planning board.
Okay.
I believe we made an appointment and that one of the persons refused the appointment. And we appointed somebody else, being very specific on which position it was.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure that we want to bring the planning board back down to a 5. It doesn't affect their quorum because whether it's 6 or whether it's 5, the quorum still is 3. But the issue is on the town clerk's roster, she's still showing 6 with 1 failure to elect in there. So would anyone like to make a motion to have the planning board resort to a 5-member board?
So moved, Andy?
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second to realign the planning board to a 5-member board. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Mass Broken Stone Company quote, you can't take any action on because of the,
Oh, that's the Route 9 paving? Okay.
there's no funding, so. The wind. What is the action that we want to take on wind?
So the situation there, Win, is the waste agreement that
Yep.
for the incinerator in Shrewsbury. And the town of Walpole has
Yep.
been taking the lead.
Yep.
And they've come up with a framework for an agreement. They want to know if we want to be part of it moving forward. I think we should stay part of the conversation and discussion.
Yep.
And they've asked us by maybe today or some date very soon to get back to them to say whether or not we as a town want to continue in the process. And then I think it also said, if I remember correctly, do we want to have our council or anyone look at it for us? So,
Well, I'm sure our council and everybody else's council is the same council, so.
or they're one of 2 or 3 that are involved, yes.
The $2,500 fee that they're asking for, would that be coming out of solid waste? Do they have a line item that would be able to,
I don't know if they have a line item specific for renegotiating contracts like that, Andy, but we have the budget here, so I guess we could take a look to see if there's someone there. We
Please
should
also keep in mind, there are currently 35 interest communities in the IMA. Even if only 30 communities ultimately participate, the estimated cost would be approximately $2,500 per community. So,
So the more that participate, the lower the
well, they're
overall.
saying it's going to be $75,000 for a Section 2 agreement. So
I mean, Andy, I think,
in the budget, is there something that they
Looking right there.
could come out of solid waste, or would that have to come out of Selectmen's professional technical?
so even if it did initially, just to keep the process moving, I wouldn't necessarily be against an article at special town meeting to transfer it from the enterprise fund into ours to reimburse it. If that,
What is there anything?
I'm looking at it, I just haven't got to it fast enough.
I'm trying to get pages.
I don't have my glasses, so I'm trying to find it quick enough here. Maybe it's at the end with one of the last pages.
It is.
It is.
Yep, all right, here we go. Solid Waste Enterprise Fund, professional services, Wheelabrator contracts, waste and recycling collection. So, Wheelabrator contract is probably already allocated, so it doesn't look like there's a lot there,
Well,
Andy.
It is and it isn't. The Wheelabrator contract is for the actual tonnage.
Okay.
And is actually usually funds left over. Is there a,
Last year it was 101%, I think, if I'm reading that correctly.
oh, okay.
Just
I was
saying
gonna
that.
say, usually it's a little below that, so.
Well, and let me make sure, that's FY '25
Yeah,
expended.
you don't have the 24, 23, and 20, yeah. You
I just
don't
have the budget.
history.
Yeah.
If you had it on your computer, you could blow it up and see.
So, I mean, since we're
What
so
did they
early,
spend overall.
it'd go this way, I think. Come up to here, yeah.
Okay. What is the percentage that they spent overall for the entire budget? They don't
So
have that.
25,
They didn't
two,
run that
no,
down.
hold on a second, 257 versus 265, so there was 8 grand there or so. Right? Is that what that says, Andy?
Yep.
2025 budget versus expended?
Yep.
The budget was $265,705, and we expended 257,576. So your point is, it's a number that varies year to year, so there's probably money in solid waste. If we want to do it to that account, we're early in the fiscal year, so we haven't started to pay those accounts, so we could reimburse it at a special, or we could take it out of our budget and
What I'm
maybe
getting at
reimburse.
is, if we make a motion to do this and commit ourselves to 2,500, we should know where it's coming from. Either
Yep.
take it out of our professional technical or take it out of solid waste, some account on solid waste.
Wheelabrator contract account?
Well, I mean, and then you just have to let Mark and Mike Siri know that those funds were expended and we want to do that. So,
I have no problem keeping it with the enterprise fund like we do with the water bills, because that's where it should be, right? And that's where the costs are, user-based versus on the tax rate. So as long as we can do that without creating a problem for that budget line item, I'd make a motion that we enter into the negotiations to finalize the agreement with Win and notify the town of Walpole accordingly. Then this also helps us in furthering discussions with Republic, all of that, right?
Because there's, what do they do with the return earnings there? Is that something that you can move
Sorry, say that again?
retained earnings in their enterprise fund?
well, the retained earnings,
Can they move any of that ever?
no, that action has to be taken at town meeting.
Okay,
So they have a certain amount of money in retained earnings. So if they wanted, in the past, they've done some improvements down there. They've added cameras, they've added some of the facilities, and they take that out of retained
Okay.
earnings. If they get a certain amount of retained earnings, let's say their budget for the year is 400,000 and they
Yep.
end up with 600,000 retained earnings, they're like, well, let's, cut the fees down a little bit.
Yep.
So they have, the retained earnings are usually used for bins or for extra material or improvements at their site.
but it looks like they have enough right now in their Wheelabrator contract is what you're saying?
In that line item,
They could.
and then just to further Andy's point, if you go to the top of the next page, the
Yep.
pay-as-you-throw supplies,
Yep.
those are the blue bags basically
Yep.
that they buy, and I've heard folks say multiple times, we buy 60-something thousand, Mark says it all the time, bags every year.
63,000, we buy them every year.
And so in that particular account, we had a budget of 13,329 for 25. I'm sorry, we had a budget of 17,000 and only spent 13,325. So right away, there was 2,500 there.
Gotcha.
Right, but that would have to be end of year transfer because it's a supply account versus a professional.
Services account. So the simplest way to do it is out of the Wheelabrator contract line item and then refund it if we have to.
Gotcha.
Reimburse if we have. to.
Reimburse it, yes.
Or do a year-end transfer or
Yep.
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, the 62,000 bags is something that's fascinated me for the last 20 years. We buy and dispose of 63,000 bags every year, no matter what happens with the amount of people and the economy, when the price of bags goes up, we sell out of what we have at the lower price, and then later on in the year, we still sell 62,000 bags by the end of the year. And, you think that, it would vary a little bit. It doesn't. It's, it's within 1,000 every year. It's. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All right. Under new business, it says Jason Brewster would like to establish an East Brookfield Facebook, and I would not like to establish an East Brookfield Facebook. Would there be anybody else that would want to have an East Brookfield Facebook?
So to your point of entering the 20th or 21st century, Andy, I think there are a lot of people. I am personally not one of them. I have zero interest in it. I have never had any social media stuff like that. And to me, it's not something that I would necessarily be engaged with. However, that being said, so many people rely on it to get information and to interact and whatnot that we owe some conversation to our constituents about what to do. That also being said, who runs it? What's the content? How is it managed? Who approves what's on there? I've heard a lot of things about comments and negativity and stuff, and it's like, I don't personally have the interest nor the time to police it, but somebody should, because we're expressing the beliefs of the town anytime we put something on there, right?
But who would be the one who express the beliefs of the town? My whole issue is if we don't have a consensus of the board of what we're going to put on there, if we don't have the consensus of the board of what we're going to reply, why would we want to have it?
So my thought is this, it does not need to be, it can just be strictly facts only. So it can, first off, comments are disengaged. They never have to be put on. So if you take a tour, which you probably don't have Facebook, but if you actually toured local towns, whether it's North Brookfield, Spencer's, it is strictly information only. There's no personal opinions. It's not what the board decides on. They don't post like the Board of Selectmen, motion to approve this. It's more like, okay, on this date, we're having this meeting, public hearing this date, town election this date, local town solid waste pickup, recyclable. It's strictly for that. And I think it's important because if we are looking at possibly needing an override, one of the biggest things that was communicated in the trainings I did was that is how they advertised the meetings for overrides. That's where they posted the information financially. So, if FinCom has a display of whether it's slides or if it's a graph showing the budget, that's just information. Because town websites are just as hard to manage. I'm sitting down tomorrow to
And
sit with
content and what's on there,
and
all
who can
that.
access. Where unfortunately, you'd be surprised, more people are more likely to look at Facebook than they are a town website. And so
That's generational, but yeah.
you'd be surprised, actually. I'm not gonna lie, some of these are little community pages going on. It's not the young generation, it's the people I'm surprised are on there, I'm not gonna lie. However, it can be, and Jason, I'm sure I'm letting you talk, but it can be strictly just for information. It does not have to be the beliefs of what we're deciding, because that is something that our minutes are for and my town government's for, and that's also a chance for people to come in to see what we're deciding. It could just be used strictly for public information. So like, how you did your water rates?
Yep.
That's something we could have posted on there and said, FYI, more questions, contact the Board of Selectmen, get on the agenda, whatever department it is. I would personally my personal opinion is you never respond to comments on those. You don't engage comments. And
Nor do you need to.
you don't have to, no, because that's
So-
what this is.
If I,
Who would administer the Facebook page? Would it be Sharon?
it would be
On
me.
behalf of the Board of Selectmen?
We'll let Jason talk.
But yeah, let's let Jason run through it, but I think it would need to be an employee, right? And it would need to be somebody that could manage, understands it, right? And could keep up with things that we need to. But I get constantly the reverse 911 calls for things like the National Night Out and for the recycle, and they missed this or they missed that. Facebook, they missed trash pickup. I don't need a reverse 911. I think it dilutes the reverse 911 to use it for that type of thing. Whereas Facebook, again, will never be me, but it will be a lot of people in our towns. I would agree with Amber on if we can actually set it up, which shows my ignorance on how they work, so that it has no negative interaction and content is something that is public information that we're doing anyways,
Well,
like meetings and things.
Public information that your opinion says should be out there. It's not all public information.
Well, maybe it
The-
can be any.
Right, but the whole
meetings.
thing about it is it's 100% opinion based. I mean, everything that's on Facebook is somebody's opinion.
Oh, a
It's no-
public
there's
hearing's not
very-
opinion based,
Well,
or.
yeah, but which hearings are you gonna put on there and which ones aren't?
I'm just saying, like
what's
the
information
like the
you're gonna
trash
put
one
on?
we had, the trash meeting.
Yeah.
That's not
Oh.
us deciding that.
Permission to address the board.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is all very important conversation. It is a matter of transparency and getting the information out there. I advocate for a yes and approach where we take as many lanes as we can. We have to go with where the people are, and people are predominantly on social media. Unless they're a very engaged citizen, they're not going to look at the town website necessarily. The idea behind this was, over the past few weeks, you've asked me to do a few things that I don't think YouTube would be the best for. For example, advertising that Toys for Joy is looking for volunteers, and posting the drone photos from the fair. advertising the informational meeting for the garbage, and there have been other things of the like that would work as a post, as a text, or a newspaper advertisement, but YouTube primarily is video-based content. And so what Amber is saying is precisely what I was hoping to do. I would establish the town Facebook page. To be clear, this is not a Facebook group like the ones that you'll find community pages that pop up organically. This is a page similar to an account with the official page of East Brookfield. If you take a look at what Spencer, Massachusetts does, it is strictly informational. It will say, be sure to look at the Board of Selectmen meeting at this time and date, public interest stories that could be posted, mostly notifications for events, be sure to come here. The way that I would have it go is that it would really be focused on official town entities, and they would contact me. If I have any questions, I would run it through Sharon or the board. I can think of examples where, let's say it's a board within the town saying, hey, Jason, we are having a meeting. Can you make sure to have it posted? And I would post that there. Like I said earlier, the Toys for Joy volunteers, in order to get the best traction for people to actually see that, I would have to sit down and record a video saying, hey, we're looking for volunteers, in order for it to get out in the way that the YouTube infrastructure works. On Facebook, you can post something that is a text with a photo, Toys for Joy's logo, seeking volunteers, and you've communicated the message, I think, more effectively. Furthermore, the already existing community groups, which you worry are sources of toxicity, and I share those concerns. At the very least, you can share the Town of East Brookfield posts into those groups, and then you've spread the information out there as well.
I would be against that, Jason. I don't think we should.
I'm not saying we would share it. I'm saying if an
Even if
individual,
another individual went to our page.
an individual-
they could-
Link to it.
Correct.
yes,
I
no,
wouldn't want to be picking and choosing which groups we link up with or anything.
no, we would
That
not.
gets to Andy's point about being opinion-based.
We would absolutely not be a part of the groups, but the perspective I have here is that, well, people are gonna complain regardless of what we do. We can disable comments on our posts, so that way we're not getting direct criticism or toxicity to us. If someone
It has
has,
nothing to do with getting it direct to us, Jason. It's just the format of negativity bothers me to whoever it goes.
I absolutely
Town
agree.
employees, anybody, right? To me, that takes away from the value that you're expressing in terms of information sharing.
Yeah, I just don't think comments are necessary on an informational town page.
and so,
Just about every town in the Commonwealth probably has it, with the exception of maybe us and a few others, so.
Oh, they do too.
well, let's say someone has a question, right, where they would normally comment, and comments are disabled. They could send a direct message and say, hey, Town of East Brookfield, have you thought about this in terms of like, hey, when is your meeting, or when is this happening? And then I could respond to that in a private message saying, thanks for getting to me, this meeting would be so-and-so, or hey, I don't know, let me ask around and get back to you. It would be purely there to represent the town in terms of information and in terms of getting stuff out there.
Can I ask a question just before you go beyond that, Jason, to understand it better myself, because I don't? Could we set up a page that just was information and then at least see how that goes for a period of time before we started going back and forth on comments? And number one, putting more responsibility on you or someone else in town. Like, let's just try getting it out there like we did with YouTube, which I think has been very successful. Credit to you, Andy, on that. Well, I think it's what we should be doing.
Before we do anything with Facebook, we should probably have a social media
Policy.
which we don't have.
So it's highly
He
recommended.
said that if anybody asked a question, he would respond to it. I'd be opposed to that. If
I would
anybody
too, Andy.
wants
Fair enough.
a question, it should be Sharon or one of the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
It
Or a
shouldn't be-
department head. I would agree.
He shouldn't be responding to any questions at all. You can forward questions, but not respond to it. So We should come up with a policy.
We don't
of
even have to come up with one if we want.
What goes on it and who does it.
So
and
I'm
why.
gonna make a recommendation that we pull a couple from other towns.
Yep.
And just see what they have and
Sure, Mass
We
Municipal
should have
probably
a
has
policy,
one.
is what I'm
yeah,
saying.
but pull a
But
couple
if we
from
look
towns.
at Brookfields and North
Correct.
Brookfields and Spencers and Charlton's
And-
and we say, let's
Exactly.
pick this, and this, that's what we'll do.
And I was gonna say, I would highly recommend before we allow that to go forward, that a policy.
I would agree with that, Amber.
Sure. I'm just putting it out there for the board to deliberate upon, that I think getting the information out there for those sorts of specific things that would be better as, hey, notification of meeting. It would be far more effective and get more people here than a reverse 911 or a newspaper advertisement or something on the fire station board.
But just to the point of the fire station board, we used to have a sign where you had to change the letters until my first year on the board, which wasn't that long ago.
Helping those in the school.
And we've come a long way with that sign that Mr. Jeff Beauchamp recommended. Thank you, Jeff. To us.
Is that the 100th anniversary?
I think they may have
funds that paid for that.
We may even paid out of town, like maintenance of building funds. It was short, it was short money for the
I thought
value
that
that it
was
gave
one
us.
of the things we did with the 100th anniversary.
We may have added to it, Andy, or something, but so to me, this is just like that, right? That we made the decision to be more outreach with the sign. We did it with YouTube. I think as much as I will never use it, we need to do a similar thing with social media.
Yes, and that's precisely what I'm saying. Like, when I was saying like about, oh, responding to messages, that was just me musing on what you guys are already saying. Social media itself does not necessitate that you must reply to comments. You could be radio silent except for the posts. What I am suggesting is to create a Facebook page that we use as nothing more than like the fire station board, put the information out there as just one of many avenues for people to see it.
The 40 to 60-year-old crowd.
Yeah. No, Andy, I think it's a lot more than that.
Go down to the senior, well, I stop at the senior.
If you want me to start a town TikTok, I could start a.
We don't need to start picking ages there at all. But Andy, I would say that it will help a lot of people and it is taking the right step with
I also
communication.
For the people that use it,
I
right?
also think one of the biggest issues that I've heard vocally here and when I was on the other side is transparency. And I think this is another check for us to say, well, we did this. And it's just someone to show that we're putting a good faith effort in trying to move forward with that transparency, you know?
I agree with you 100%, Amber. And also some of the bad information, right? By having an official page, the appearance of some of the other stuff
That's
that's
not
there
so
that
fun to hear is there.
it's in ours,
Yeah.
but appears like it's coming from the town. So we have no way to address that. So
And so it would be, anything that is posted by the town Facebook, that is more legitimate. That if you know anything about information literacy, trying to cross-reference your sources, not trusting a .com or Wikipedia, which for the record, the source notes at the bottom of Wikipedia are actually really useful. But Wikipedia itself can be edited by anyone. Point being is that we want to be transparent. We want to have this information out there. And furthermore, to address Andy's point, for the people that use it, yeah, but also word of mouth. And I think that we're missing a lot of engagement. This room is empty, and most people don't show up to the Board of Selectmen meetings in my town, never mind anyone else. But if there's a really important issue on the agenda, it makes the most sense for people to know about it ahead of time rather than on the re-upload.
And I think, Andy, to help with some of your anxiety that I share with you on what's on there and how it gets managed, we have a policy on the reverse 911 stuff, and the chief generally manages it, right? And department heads know, like solid waste when there's an issue or discolored water, right? The various department heads know to do it. To me, this would just be one more person on that email that says, send this out on social media or reverse 911.
Did you
So
be
we'll-
surprised somebody on those community pages? I didn't see anything about it. There's nowhere to find it. So like if the water main broke, water shut off on this road, people automatically within 30 seconds are on Facebook saying, does anyone know what's going on?
Yeah, and that's the other thing is like with the reverse 911, I'm sure that there's a text that has already been approved by the respective board. Let's say Board of Health is putting out a thing to reverse 911. If they send that to me, I can just copy paste the exact text of that on our town as well.
That's kind of how it works now, Jason. I think with a little bit of modification and a policy, I would support going in that direction. As long as I don't have
So
to do it.
we'll get a policy again and look at it.
Amazing. I have one other thing about if you check on the agenda regarding closet space. Last Friday, I was here. As you know, I've been working with the Board of Health to digitize their documents. What I've found pretty quickly is that lighting is essential. And if you don't control the lighting, you don't control the quality. The space I have right now in the Board of Health's room is very similar to the space we have. It's right over there. These windows that are behind all of you are also near me. And the problem I've been getting is that depending on the time of day, the light is not consistent. Now, my solution for this is to get me in a space that is sort of cornered off. Doesn't need to be big, maybe using Nicole's closet. Just a space where I can go in, make sure to take the photos, and I have absolute control over the light. There isn't a window. And putting that out there just to see if there's any ideas.
So rather than a
Every one of them
closet,
has a closet.
yeah, but
One of these rooms has a closet, yeah.
yeah, and Andy, just a closet's kind of not the greatest workspace to be putting someone either. The conservation planning veterans agent room across the hall has a desk that in longest time I can remember is almost never used, right? It's got stuff piled on it. So if we could get Jason access to that room, shut the door, the light is the light because there's no windows and the desk is there and you could work on that desk.
Check with the department heads that are in there, make sure if they have any sensitive material locked up, that's all.
Yeah.
So if you want to get a hold of Concom.
So it would be John Kuchar. Yeah, do you mind, Sharon? So it's John.
Then make sure there's nothing in there.
If he likes the closet and Nicole.
If you like the closet.
Jason is-
I'd rather not put an employee in a closet to work, to be honest.
Would be,
Your office right over there.
I would be happy to work wherever you'll have me work. What matters is that I can control the lighting.
Yeah, and I just want it to be a reasonable work environment for
If you
employees.
check with the veterans
Bob, I'd
agent,
like you to have some
planning board,
breath.
and conservation, just make sure there's nothing in there that they're worried about.
Your AV guy
And
work.
let them know that he's gonna be in there from time to time, that's all.
It's not unheard of to have the AC guy in the closet.
I know, or in the attic, in the really dusty, hot attics. I know. I'm trying to help you, Jason.
Thank you very much.
If you look down under correspondence, this is an issue that we have sent to the KP Law already. This is a collective bargaining agreement. If we want to go into that, we definitely have to do our diligence with KP Law, and they would send somebody out for that. But this is not an MOU, this is a collective bargaining agreement. If you're familiar with the MOU, almost every page has a change from what we're doing now. Vacation schedule, how you earn vacation, how you accumulate vacation, the seniority, everything. It's an entirely.
I read through it, Andy. Yep, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's entirely different from what we're doing. So if they want to go down that road, that's to their choice, but that changes the dynamics of the department and how it's funded, so.
It potentially could, right, depending on your perspective. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't automatically assume something without talking about it. It will likely have changes, but I don't know that they're for the bad necessarily.
Well, I mean, it would be, on the budgetary standpoint, it would, because it increases vacation, sick time, seniority, step pay, shift differentials, et cetera, et cetera. It would increase the budget.
Based on what's being proposed in the
Correct.
agreement now, yeah.
Right, but it's.
And the
you don't
change
go
from
into
where we are
collective
now.
Bargaining with their proposal, and you just, oh, okay, and you go from there. You negotiate back and forth.
Understood.
So I mean, this is the initial phase of that.
Yep.
So if we have a executive session, we would have to have our representation there. So we'd have to
would agree with that.
go out to see if they have somebody, I know they have the MOU, I've sent it to them.
Yep.
If they have somebody that can review it and get back to us to see if they can attend an upcoming meeting, and then at that point in time, we would go into executive session
Okay.
with the
Not the
EPD.
24th.
I don't think we have
With
time.
KP Law.
Yeah.
You know.
And we don't have a meeting between now and then, Sharon, to do that, right? Even if they could get back to us tomorrow, we don't meet before that night. I'd rather not do that, yeah. And also try, that could be vacation week for a lot of people in August, right? It's a tough time for that kind of thing, Andy. Correct.
Did you have anything else?
Not tonight, I didn't.
Did you have anything else?
Is that the Toys for
Yes, I just want to know, is this,
That's the woman who they want the new
this
volunteers
is her proposal of what she would do?
would do.
Is that an old business or new business? Yeah, here it is.
Not gonna lie, number one looks good.
Make sure they're not like droppings and all kinds of stuff. You know, and seriously, that's not healthy. Get rid of it.
No, that's exactly, that's like number one looks good.
Yep.
Did you ever find out from Brookfield, any response?
I reached out to Brookfield, they reached out to their contact, which is Peter Bartel. That was the.
Mhm.
Bartel's in charge. Okay, thank you, Sharon, for trying.
This is another thing that would be a perfect thing for Facebook communication.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, we need folks interested in this, and you might get all different
this
group of
woman is-
people.
This woman was her and her daughter, is that, we're interested in doing this, we're just trying to figure out, okay. And from our last meeting, we were just trying to determine if Brookfield even has a stake in this, or they've been running their own show or nothing at all, that's what we were trying to determine.
Peter Bartel
Okay.
reached out to.
It originally was two-town
Yep.
committee, but my question was, does Brookfield have any accounts still, or was it all transferred to us? Yeah.
Just
Right.
said
Maybe
Peter.
he'll get
I
that.
think part of that was just the people at the time, and now the people are different too. Right?
Right, but I mean, their treasurer still should show whether or not there's, and their account should show whether or not it's still an account.
Agreed.
We have some accounts that are pretty old that we're still carrying, so.
Do we still want to wait to see if Brookfield gets back to Sharon about their accounts before we make a decision if we let new volunteers step in?
Well, that, we'd like to see if there's any other volunteers that would like to step up.
And at least having someone start sorting might be a good idea, that's a starting point.
Well, yeah, but it means it's a two-person committee, so
I know. we
I don't
need
want to have
more.
3 or 5 or something, you know, just to have a little diversity, get a little bit of.
I just hate to see the holiday season creep up and people are still making donations and
Yep.
there's a closet full. All right, cool.
His number next.
Who is it?
Peter Bartel, he's the fire chief.
Yeah, he's a fire chief. He's a full-time paramedic, so he's at the station every day.
He's the-
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation, they have a portable toilet at the gazebo. They just said the Board of Selectmen pay that bill. Did we pay that bill?
That was something that was paid for by the Board of Selectmen. I don't know if it was approved by the Board of Selectmen, but the Board of Selectmen paid it. I know the porta potty they're talking about it.
Yep.
What rec uses for the summer, and then the concert uses it, and anybody else that's over there uses it.
And we have one at the beach too, that's managed
So
under
the
the
one at
same
the
agreement.
beach is at the beach. The one that's over here is used by everybody that's in the area. I mean, dog walkers use it, and kids that are playing ball, not necessarily with rec. You know, so.
So your point is to just assign it to rec is
Do
like,
you, do
yeah.
you pay for it out of selectmen's budget, or do you pay for it, the selectmen paid for it because they were in charge of municipal properties? Should it be charged to municipal properties because it is a porta potty on the municipal property?
I mean, either one of those two would be fine with me, Andy, for the reasons you just mentioned, as long as there's money there to pay for it, I wouldn't care which one it goes to be
Yeah,
honest
so
with
if you could check with the clerk for the highway department to see if they have a line item for that. We don't have a porta potty line item in the
I will.
selectmen's budget, as far as I know.
I have a quick question, just back to Toy Story about the volunteers. I know when you guys were looking for people to establish a playground committee, it was on the board, that's how I found out about it.
Yeah.
Can we put Toys for Joy volunteers?
Yeah.
Do that? Because that's the reason I found out was the playground one.
Absolutely.
I sent an email, I was like, hey, I saw that sign. All right, cool, maybe that'll be another way.
Now, some people look at the sign on the way by and other people say, oh, it's so fast, I never see it.
I can't read it.
So once again, it's one of
I've
those
seen it
things where
before.
you put the information out there, some people look at it, some people look at it all the time, and some people say it's too quick, I'm, paying attention to traffic. So I mean,
I will say this about all of that. I would say that it was so new, because again, we were going from the old sign, because I was on the board when we did it, the old letters. to, oh my God, a signboard. In hindsight, I wish we had bought a bigger one because the messages could be easier to read at Route 9 speed,
Right.
right? And then trying to work with Trish and whoever's doing it at the fire department to make sure, because we've had conversations about this in the past, like you can read the white letters against a certain color background,
yeah.
black against white.
Yep.
So you can't have
I know
too
they've
much of a message or you can't see it.
They've done it a dozen different ways, and one of the things that we've established over the years is don't make it flash, no red, no blue.
Right.
Because there was some signs on there that were, yeah. So you
Because I
can't
can
have
see it
it,
from across the lake in my
you can't have it be distracting.
Well, and,
You don't want to distract the drivers, you want it to be something that they'll pay attention to, but not distracting, so.
and they can read because, just depending on the speed of a road, there's a certain size you make the signs. That's, so that you can actually, a font size so you can see it. So, I mean, maybe we should look at maybe getting a bigger sign as part of our public outreach program. Remember you didn't all you had?
I heard you. I was processing in my head as I'm writing notes.
I would say this about that. It was surprisingly inexpensive for the value we got out of it. That's
Hey,
all.
listen, it still catches, I see things, like I said, that's how I found out about the playground. I was like, wait a minute, I turned around.
And I'm jealous of our neighbors who must have had sign envy and put up a new sign at their public safety complex.
Well, even the one in North
It's nice.
Brookfield,
It's like just bigger. And North Brookfield's too is bigger.
Yeah.
they have that, like, and it's right in the corner, that thing's bright.
You can hear that.
They took our lead. So I don't have anything else, Sandy. Oh,
Either.
You had nothing else, Sharon?
No, thank you.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
a motion to adjourn at 7:13?
I will-
Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I will second.
Oh, boy. I'll run these over to Donna now.
And is anybody gonna enter anything at the fair? The exhibit hall's looking empty.
I made a second, do we have to finish this motion?
Yeah,
We
you
didn't- no,
voted
he-
and
he didn't-
seconded.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for watching the Town of East Brookfield's YouTube channel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, or anything to add, comment them down below or email evmedia@eastbrookfieldma.us.